Hi, welcome to Fire Flow. So really nice, active, dynamic class for you today. You can absolutely manage without any props. If you'd like to, you can grab a block for a supported malasana squat. So if you know that that's something you'd like to have, or if you'd like to perhaps have a more restorative version at the end of class, then do grab a block. Otherwise, it can be handy perhaps to have something like a folded blanket if you're on a hard floor and you know your knees get a bit sensitive, so that might be a handy thing to have as well. And also to sit on if you find that staff pose can feel more comfortable with a cushion or a blanket underneath your hips. So those are the only things you might want to have a prop for. Otherwise, let's get going, started in a seated position. So what I'm going to suggest today is that you come into your cross-leg position, and then once you're there, you take the cross, which is not the one that you'd have taken, so the kind of weird feeling cross. If that feels sort of supremely uncomfortable, then obviously go back to what you're on before. But it can be really good to change that up. I mean, I know for me, I always come into the same leg in front, and so it's really good to offer something different to the body. And once you're there, allowing your eyes to close, and maybe bringing the palms into a bowl shape in your lap, or palms up on the knees. So coming into a position of receiving, being open for energy to enter the body. And perhaps as you inhale, you begin to feel a broadening across the chest. Maybe the shoulders open a little more. Maybe you can find a little bit more space for the breath to enter into your lower ribs, the back of your body. And maybe checking in with what it is that you need today from practice, what you're bringing to the mat, not only physically, but emotionally as well, what this day, what this week has been like. Observing and noticing anything that comes up for you as you're feeling into that. And then on your next exhale, perhaps taking an exhale through the mouth, allowing anything you need to let go of to be let go. And you might want to take a couple of those. Inhaling, broadening across the chest, opening your body up. Exhaling to release and remove anything stuck, anything you want to let go of. Taking one more breath here before we get started today. And then allowing your eyes to open. Starting off by taking a few circles with the shoulders. So inhale, reaching up, palms facing forward, reaching up tall with the tips of the fingers. And exhaling, circling out to the sides and down. So taking a couple of those, inhale, reaching tall, and perhaps opening up a little bit at the top, really expanding, exhaling, opening and lowering. One more time, reaching tall, expanding and opening through the chest, and exhale, lowering down. And an option to take a little twist here, so bringing the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind the body, and opening up into your twist on your exhale. Your inhale brings you back to center. Coming on to the other side, right hand to left knee, left hand reaches behind the body. And opening up on this side. Inhaling, coming back to center. And finding your way onto all fours, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Going to take a few cat-cows here, so whenever you're ready, inhaling, hips rise, chest draws through the arms, opening up into your cow. Exhaling, tucking the chin round in the spine, tucking the tailbone under, into cat. One more time, inhaling, opening, get a feeling of expanding through the chest, opening up the front of the body. And exhale, stretching out the back of the body, pressing through the hands as you tuck them round. Navel draws up towards the spine. And inhaling, back to center. From here, taking one foot, then the other back into plank. And taking a breath here, reaching out through the heels and through the crown of the head. As you exhale, pressing through the hands, coming into downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward, head comes forward last into your plank. And exhale into downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, rolling forward into your plank. And then lowering the knees down, back into all fours. So from here, lifting the right leg, and then option to also lift the right hand. So finding a little place that you can focus on, and then reaching back, catching hold of that foot if you can, kicking the foot into the hand, and opening up the front of the arm, the chest, the front of the hip. Totally okay if you wobble here, lose your balance. Oops. Taking one more breath. And then really slowly, maybe taking a reach up with kicking away with the heel of the foot, reaching up with the hands. And then exhale, everything back down. So you might want to take a little hip circle here to just release that. And then we'll come on to the other side. So you'll probably find that one side feels more balanced than the other. So if you were rock solid on one side and wobbling like crazy on the other, then don't worry about it. I think that makes you very normal. So when you're ready, lifting that back foot and the arm coming to catch the foot in the hand. Pressing the foot into the hand, that really helps with the balance. And then seeing if you can find that openness through your chest. Finding a place to focus. And then straightening out that leg, keeping it lifted, reaching the fingertips up to the sky, kicking away with the heel, and then lowering everything down. And you can release here with a little hip circle if that feels good. Once you found your way back to center, stepping back into plank, we'll take those plank to downward dogs again. So taking a breath in plank, reaching forward, crown of the head to the tips of the toes. And then exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhaling, rolling forward again into your plank. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths in downward dog here. So really seeing if you can ground down with the knuckles of the fingers, opening the palms, and the hips reaching high as the chest sinks down towards the ground. On your next inhale, stepping, walking or floating, coming to meet in halfway lift at the top of your mat. Exhaling, releasing to forward fold. Inhale, rolling through the spine, rising up to stand, reaching tall. Cactus, the arms, lion's breath. And then hands to prayer. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands come down through the chest into forward fold. Inhaling into your halfway lift, spine draws long. Exhaling, hands by the feet, stepping or floating back into plank. You can come through chaturanga if you wish. Maybe this first one you want to bring the knees down. Finding your way down, inhaling, upward dog or cobra. And exhaling, finding your way back into your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, right foot comes forward in between the hands, lowering down the back knee, untucking the toes if that feels good, rising up into low lunge. Cactus, lion's breath. Inhale, reaching tall, and hands by the feet, stepping back into plank, coming through your version of vinyasa. Maybe you want to take one last one, knees down. Inhale, upward dog or cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, left foot forward in between the hands, lowering down that back knee as you inhale, rising up into your low lunge. Exhale, opening the arms, cactus, lion's breath. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back into plank, coming through your version of vinyasa. With chaturanga, maybe you lower down from full plank this time. Untucking the toes, inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, stepping, walking or floating, coming to meet at the top of your mat in halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold, hands by the feet. As you inhale, rolling through the spine, coming up to stand, reaching tall. Exhale, hands to prayer in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, into your forward fold once more. From here, placing the hands to the ground, stepping the right foot back, and coming into high lunge when you're ready. From here, option to stay as you are. You can try and hover that front heel if you want, so coming up onto the toes of both feet. Or if you'd prefer, you can take a revolve lunge, so your choice today. Bringing that heel down if you decided to lift it, and finding your way back to center if you took your twist. And then hands by the feet, stepping back into plank, coming through your version of chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog, reaching the hips high, pressing through the hands. When you're ready, stepping, walking or floating, coming to meet in halfway lift at the top of your mat. And exhale, forward fold. Keeping the hands by the feet, stepping the left foot back this time, keeping the feet hips width apart, rising up when you're ready into your high lunge. Reaching tall here, maybe you want to take that heel hover, maybe you want to take your revolve twist. Working the legs really hard if you've got that heel lifted. One more breath. And then lowering down, coming back to center if you've taken the twist. And hands by the feet as you exhale, stepping back into plank, coming through your version of chaturanga when you're ready. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog, big sigh out through the mouth if you want to. Taking a couple of breaths to reset in your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, stepping, walking or floating, coming to meet in halfway lift. Exhaling into forward fold, releasing through the neck, through the spine. Inhale, rolling up to stand, reaching tall. Exhale, hands to prayer. So you may have guessed from the beginning, prepping a little bit for dancer's pose with our opening up balancing. So feel free to have a little go in dancers, maybe it's really well established in your practice. And if not, as always, then wobble around, hold on to a wall, fall out, it's all good. So when you're ready, grounding down through the left foot, and you're going to bend and lift the right foot. So bend the right knee, lift the right foot, keeping the knees together and pressing the foot into the hand. And from here, you might want to bring your index finger and your thumb together. You're going to try and open up through the leg first, so kicking the leg back, imagining the knees are together, reaching forward with the arms, and then opening up the leg more and more, maybe the chest begins to tip forward. And exhale, finding your way back to center, reaching up tall with the hands. Exhale, hands to prayer. So we'll come on to the other side, not holding this for super long today. So this time bending the left knee, grounding down through the right foot, and finding your left foot in your left hand. Maybe bringing index finger and thumb together on the right hand, reaching out in front, kicking the foot into the hand, and focusing on opening up the leg, keeping the knees together, and maybe you have a wobble and reaching forward when you're ready. So seeing if you can really open up the front of the leg, kicking the foot into the hand. And then exhale, back to center, lowering the foot, reaching tall. Exhale, hands together in front of your heart. Bringing the feet to about hips width apart, toes slightly out, heels slightly in. So this is where if you want to take your supported malasana, you might want to grab a block, pop it behind you. Otherwise, feel free to come down into your malasana squat as normal. So keeping the hands together in prayer as you exhale, lowering down into your malasana. So if you're sitting on your block, you want to pop that underneath your hips. And then elbows come inside of your knees, pressing the hands together, using the elbows to open up the knees as your chest draws forward. And taking a few breaths here. If it's in your practice to take a bind in this pose, feel free to do so. You can also bring left hand to the ground and reach up with the right arm. So seeing if you can still keep the openness of the legs in that position. So you might want to have a little play around with that. And if you've taken that twist, then perhaps swapping right hand down, left arm up. And then coming back to center, we'll take a couple more breaths here. So maybe if you've been using your block, you want to have a few breaths without, or maybe you're ready to pop a block in if you haven't had one there. And then when you're ready, bringing the hands behind the body and coming into staff pose. So if you're keen to add on a little bit more activeness into practice today and crow poses in your practice, then feel free to come into crow from here, so from your malasana. It's not something I'm going to demonstrate because I'm pregnant at the moment, but if it is in your practice, then finding your way into your crow pose. So hands are going to be about a foot in front of the feet, lifting the hips, knees come towards the shoulders, and then you're rocking forward as you lift one foot and then the other off the ground. Otherwise, coming to have a little sit down and staff pose, and we'll take a little forward fold from here. So inhale, reaching up tall. You might want to pop a cushion underneath the hips if you know you've got a bit of rounding in the lower back. And then as you exhale, leading with the chest, coming forward any amount. So you may find you just come forward a small amount today, or it might be you want to take a bind around the feet and come down further. So if you are finding that rounding in the lower back, sitting on the edge of a cushion or a block, that'll help to tip your hips forward a little bit, and that helps to open up just there. So having a little play, seeing what's feeling good here, and taking a couple more breaths. If you've been playing around in crow, feel free to join at any time into this staff pose. And then inhaling, walking hands back to center, bringing the hands behind the body, maybe a little wave of the feet, the legs from side to side, or a little shake. And then scooting up to about halfway up your mat, lowering down onto your back when you're ready. And from here, we're going to finish off with a happy baby pose. So lifting the feet from the floor, hands come in between the knees, grabbing hold of either the outsides or the insides of the feet. Feet press up towards the sky, flexing the feet so the toes are reaching back towards the shins. And then imagining that you're pulling those knees down towards your armpits. Maybe you allow your eyes to close. Taking a couple more breaths in this position. And then bringing the feet down to the ground and taking a windscreen wiper with the legs from side to side. When they come to the right hand side, allowing them to stay there. Left hand comes out to the side, gaze over the left hand, turning the head to the left. Breathing into this space in the body, allowing your spine to really open up. On your inhale, heads come back to center, and then knees come to center. Exhale, knees to the left. Maybe your right arm opens up, gaze over the right shoulder. So perhaps you allow your breath to start to come a little bit deeper here. Getting to the end of practice. Inhaling, head back to center, knees back to center. And then taking your Shavasana from here. So maybe you keep the knees bent, the knees not together. Maybe you open out fully, feet opening out to the sides, palms open. Maybe you'd like to take legs up the wall or another position that's feeling good for your body today. So allowing yourself the freedom to take the Shavasana that suits you. Sometimes in class it can feel like Shavasana is very strictly one pose, one option. And actually there are so many different ways that we can allow our body to rest, to restore at the end of class. So being curious about what your body needs, finding a place that feels good for you. And once you get there, releasing your body into the earth, finding heaviness. Finding spaciousness across the front of the body, contrasting with the heaviness and a melting down of the back of the body. Taking a few moments here to really allow every single part of the body to let go. And if you're able to hang out in your Shavasana for a few minutes longer, please be encouraged to do so. This is so important at the end of practice. I really hope you've enjoyed today's fire flow. Namaste.